Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. Something a little bit different for you guys today. We're talking about the Hall of Fame, the Premier League Hall of Fame to be precise, and who we think should be the first inductees into the Hall of Fame. Quake's got some opinions on this one. He's anxious to get on the mic, so let him know, Quakes.
Nah, it's just like it doesn't.
This has been a big point of contention before.
There's no real debate. Like for me, anyway, I think that Thierry Henry is the first person that goes into the Premier League Hall of Fame. He defines what the Premier League was when it was at its absolute best. You think of Thierry Henry, you think of those years. He's a player
the Premier League at its best then?
100%. So in the midst of what the Invincibles and then Chelsea going back to back, and then Ronaldo coming into the league from between 2002 to 2010. Or 2000, the Premier League was at its very, very best, and Thierry Henry was a massive part of that. And he also defines the Premier League because he's not a player that had massive success at Arsenal, apart from when he dragged Arsenal to the Champions League final. It wasn't...
They lost.
Which they lost, which is this why he's so synonymous
and
with
the Champions League, we're talking about the Premier League.
Yeah, no, that's why he's so synonymous. I'm
going to make a big case very soon.
Yeah, but that's why it's so synonymous with the Premier League. Like Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard didn't have many Champions League moments. That's why he's a Premier League legend. And I feel like that definitely helps Henry's case because he's very much accepted within British culture. If you go to France and ask their opinion on Henry, it's very different to how we perceive him. Yeah. He defined the Premier League. He defined the class of the Premier League as well. And he brought a sense of style.
He brought Vavavoom.
He brought Vavavoom. And he brought the commercialism. Those Vavavoom adverts are famous. Thierry Henry was the face of the Premier League for so long. And I don't think anybody else that you can say or are going to bring up in this list can...
I'll jump on your point just to throw some Thierry Henry. I'm not angry at the Thierry Henry shout at all.
Yeah.
I think anyone in our age demographic is knows all about Thierry Henry. But just to rattle off a few facts about him. So in 258 appearances, 157 wins, 175 goals and 74 assists. 74 assists is
incredible numbers.
It's pretty mad.
2 league titles.
Signed for the Gunners for 11 million, and he was the highest overseas player in Premier League history the highest scoring Premier League player from overseas until Aguero overtook him. So I think you're well within your rights to say Thierry Henry.
Thank you.
Who would be your second person? Who would be your second person though?
My second person.
His second person is my first, surely. Is it not? If it's not, you're mental.
Come back to me. You guys go with your first person, and I'll go with my second person.
It's Alan Shearer, and it has to be Alan Shearer.
Big Al.
Yeah, of course. Scored more goals, got close to his numbers in terms of assists. Only one league title less. We're not dealing in championships in this one. It's like the Hall of Fame. It's like icons that have affected Premier League. Like you said, Thierry Henry didn't necessarily have many big Champions League moments. Alan Shearer definitely didn't. But 264 goals in the Premier League? Whatever.
Mate, so he got 260 goals. 260 goals in 441 appearances with 64 assists. Yeah, you can... I think he was a little bit before our time, though. He just was a little bit before.
Yes and no. Obviously, Thierry Henry lit it up in that generation of the Invincibles. And, I remember when Thierry Henry was playing against Chelsea, just feeling it's that feeling when a player gets the ball. It's like, oh, God. You get it with Kevin De Bruyne now these days.
Devastating pace.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And I just don't think Alan Shearer should be written off. It also sounds really ridiculous, but... I'm going to go with it anyway. The nationalism there, he's an English player playing, effectively for a one club city that he's from.
Yeah.
Scoring ridiculous amounts of goals, scoring goals for England in an English league. It's Alan Shearer. He just has to go in number one.
You think so?
Yeah, Thierry Henry's obviously my second pick.
Do you know what? I would back your shouts. I think you've both got solid shouts, and I'm actually going to go with a left field one for my first one that you might not be expecting. I think it's easy to pick two strikers for your first inductee. So I think I'm going to go with a centre back. Guess what I'm going with?
It's got to be John Terry.
John Terry. I think John Terry, as much as he's the guy that's got a bit of a dodgy kind of background with the whole racism aspect, but on the pitch you can't doubt his. His ability, 492 appearances, 311 wins, 214 clean sheets, 5 league titles, 41 goals for a centre-back isn't bad.
Yeah.
That's one goal every,
Great centre-back to play in the league.
11 or 12 games. It's not bad. That's not bad,
I'm never going to sit here and argue with you about John Terry, but like I feel like with the Thierry Henry one, it's not even.
Well, there's two. To be honest, the rumor is there'll be two inductees in the first class of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, yeah.
So I suppose we're between us. We've got to pick between John Terry, Alan Shearer, and Henry.
I think.
Okay, well I'll throw it in the hat. So Thierry Henry. Who's letting Thierry Henry in there straight away?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
Yeah, well I'm letting Thierry in. So it's basically, are we letting Alan Shearer in there or John Terry in there for number 2?
Oh well, it's Alan Shearer. Like I obviously as a Chelsea fan, I'd love to put John Terry in like first every day of the week. I just think, I mean, it's that I feel bad for centre backs. It's that age old thing of like, well, the last centre back to win the Ballon d'Or was Cannavaro, and he was the one I think
the World Cup.
He'd won captained Italy to the World Cup, but before that, I don't think another centre back had won it for another 20 years. And
that's fair.
Virgil van Dijk recently just missed out. It doesn't happen for them. We love football because we love to see goals.
That's why they're paid the most.
Exactly.
So I just can't believe that you picked Alan Shearer to go in your. And this is why I have a bone to grab. Bro, like your favorite Chelsea player is Eden Hazard. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, and so that's like you saying like, oh, I'm gonna put.
It's just it's just facts, mate. At the end of the day, like I'm not like. It's Premier League Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he's the Premier League leading all-time goal scorer. What like Henry? Obviously gave you specifically more feeling because it's Thierry fucking Henry. He's an absolute baller, and I'm not saying I don't feel those things about him. He's incredible, and he's the second one in for me. But when push comes to shove, cold hard numbers.
I think if you ask Alan Shearer who should go in first, he'll say Thierry Henry. If you ask Thierry Henry who should go first, he'll say Thierry Henry.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
That's Thierry Henry.
And that is Thierry.
We've agreed on Thierry though.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing is, the gripe is like who goes first. Like, and you think Shearer or you think John Terry?
I think ultimately, football. The most important thing in football is goals, and I think in terms of who had a bigger generational impact on the sport, it's Thierry Henry without a shadow of a doubt. Just for everything he brought off the pitch as well. But if you look at goals on the pitch, like. You know, Thierry Henry, maybe like if he'd stayed around in the Premier League a few more seasons at Arsenal instead of, winning the Champions League with Barcelona, then I think maybe he would have had a more, this sounds ridiculous, like he's got a lasting legacy. But we're talking about Alan Shearer, who's
just talking about who's
loads of goals.
We're
also talking about arguably the two best like goal scorers in Premier League history. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
bro, I literally in terms of everything you're saying about all the points you're making in terms of Thierry, he should.
This is
on the balance of how much of a talent he was and what he gave us. Going in first, but it's just the fact that it's the Premier League Hall of Fame. Like we have just
goals scored have got him out. Got him out.
Yeah. But we have just witnessed everyone lose their minds over the potential breakup of football, the breakdown of all of these stats, the history of the fabric of the game. Yeah. Which goes back, through over 150 years. We're talking FA Cup. We're talking, the formation of the Premier League in '92. I just feel like Alan Shearer, particularly, again, it's this weird nationalistic. I don't really quite.
That's what I think it is.
It's about the culture of the Premier League.
100%. But we also bear in mind the Hall of Fame. Maybe I'm judging on like the American parameters, but they do everything is considered. Like there's players who scored more points than other players, but there's a reason why the other players are in the Hall of Fame and these players aren't, because it's more than just that. It's the culture. It's what you've done. Like he is the Premier League.
I do get that, but also I think, and this is a shoddy argument to fall back on, but I think if you were asking people that were maybe 35 years old and above, it would be Shearer. Because, like you say, maybe we slightly missed out on. I remember seeing Alan Shearer bang goals, mate. Those penalties were a joke. He's a Newcastle icon. We're Southern boys. It's a completely different thing. And I
remember Newcastle. Sorry to interrupt you, but I remember Newcastle Alan Shearer, which is probably post injuries. This isn't Alan Shearer when he was banging in goals for Blackburn, winning the Premier League, banging in goals for Southampton. That was just a little bit before I was really starting to get into football.
He was still banging goals, though, man.
He was banging goals.
He always banged goals,
but. He'd lost a yard of pace at that point, but it was still a killer.
It's literally two different perspectives, and in theory, it's weird. As a football fan, I would more likely stick with your perspective in the sense that although Thierry Henry is an imported product. He is what the Premier League is about.
The Premier League is all about imported product. The Premier League is about like players coming in and assimilating the culture that is not their culture and really embracing that and really representing the shirt that they wear. It's Thierry, like the amount of moments, the amount of celebrations, the amount of goals.
Did Thierry Henry represent the shirt he wears, or did he actually build the shirt he wears? Because Arsenal, after...
Post Thierry Henry, Arsenal.
The decline has been so
at the same time,
he added something
and just to play devil's
that.
advocate as well, just to jump in. I know you're saying that Thierry Henry obviously wore the shirt. Alan Shearer is synonymous with Newcastle.
100%. A Newcastle team that won absolutely nothing.
He's a Geordie boy. Yeah. What they what? Oh
he
my
said
God!
That with his chest people.
He's got two league titles.
No, he's got one. He's got one.
No, I'm saying Thierry Henry's got 2 league titles compared to Alan Shearer's 1. So we're not counting medals.
And one of them was the invincible season where the team literally did not lose a game. He's got a season where he scored 20 goals and got 20 assists. Like people get 20 assists, and like he is. Think about the iconic moments. If you were to say a player who had the most iconic moments, whether it's goals or a celebration,
it just makes me.
It's no particular order though. It's not inductee 1, inductee 2. It's just 2 inductees.
But what this is who goes in number 1. That's what this real conversation is.
And the thing is, I fully from my perspective as a football fan, I agree with what you're saying completely. But I just don't. It's the Premier League Hall of Fame. He's the first one, mate.
For me,
make him a Geordie boy playing for the Toon. Like,
do you know what I'm gonna? So just to lay the law for the listeners here. So you're saying Thierry Henry should be number 1,
yeah,
and you're saying Alan Shearer should be number 1.
Yeah, and Thierry Henry number 2.
Okay,
Alan Shearer is maybe not even my number 2.
Who's your number 2, bro?
Right. Okay. So for me, Alan Shearer is my number 1. Alan Shearer is my number 1.
He's maybe not my number 2. Because the thing is, like, in terms of like,
who's number 2, Quakey?
Number 2
maybe
is
Frank Lampard.
It's not who I think is the best or not whatever. But if we're talking about the Premier League,
Quakey, say it with your chest, bro.
I've got 2 number 2s.
Oh, 2. Yeah, go on.
We're looking at Wayne Rooney. And we're looking at Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero, the sheer amount of goals, and for that defining moment that encapsulated everything that we love about the Premier League.
The QPR goal, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That,
but again, this is the argument that's been had over the last couple of weeks. We are talking about like Sergio Aguero. As much as I hate to lambast teams for this because it's the way football is, but it's like bought by shake oil money to bring forward a product that is now trying to effectively break away and break up what football is. Alan Shearer arguably represents the back end of that.
Yeah, and for sure. But
that is a mad disrespect on Alan Shearer as well to put Wayne Rooney above him.
Well, Wayne Rooney, who's got who's 3rd in the assists total and then 2nd in the goals total and has got 5 Premier League medals. It's disrespectful to Wayne Rooney over Alan Shearer. It's the leading goal scorer for England in England. And the same, you know what I mean? Why is it disrespectful to Wayne Rooney over Alan Shearer?
Because it's almost as if you're
I'm literally talking. Yeah, but because of what? I'm just talking about goals.
Okay, so Wayne Rooney's number 2 and assists Wayne Rooney's number 3 and Wayne's got more England goals in England.
Okay, what I will say then, one thing we haven't mentioned.
5 Premier League titles.
One thing we haven't mentioned about Alan Shearer is the goals he scored at the clubs he was at. He was never going to win the Premier League at Newcastle. He went close. But you can argue that the players he's being compared to. Obviously, we've got Thierry Henry at Arsenal. We've got Wayne Rooney at Man United. We've got Sergio Aguero at.
We're talking about his whole career in the Premier League.
Arguably the best Man City side of all time.
If Harry Kane stays at Tottenham for the rest of his career and beats Alan Shearer's goal scoring record, does he go in ahead of Alan Shearer?
No.
So what are you talking about?
Alan Shearer hasn't won.
Pardon?
Sorry, Harry Kane hasn't won anything. Alan Shearer did win the Premier League with Blackburn.
So is that what's putting him in the Premier League? Are we counting medals or are we not counting medals?
Well,
because we're counting medals and goals.
Because we've literally sat around this table and we've criticised and said if Harry Kane don't go to somewhere where he wins trophies, he's a waste man. So how are you telling me that Alan Shearer,
I don't think we can
a move away from a club that's going to win him trophies? We're going, we commend him for that. I don't adhere to that. I think that's fucking bullshit.
I don't look at this guy. Look at Andrews. I don't think we can have that energy after this week.
You can't compare Harry Kane to Alan Shearer in terms of career path trajectory and the fact that Harry Kane staying at Tottenham. It's completely different to Alan Shearer being a Geordie and playing for the Toon. I think you're...
So we're attributing and we're crediting people for being from a certain area. Harry Kane's been at Tottenham from being...
No, we're not doing that at all. I am telling you, and as I've told you, my point across this whole argument has been, I feel Alan Shearer goes in because he is that. He represents that. He represents, mate, what it is to every young English kid that can go out and play for their team. He scored the most goals we've ever seen a player score in the Premier League for that, I just want to put him in number one.
Fair
I just feel like he deserves to walk in.
So let's go with the majority.
From a human.
Wayne Rooney. I'm not saying Wayne Rooney and Thierry Henry and Sergio Aguero aren't better players, goal scorers, or professionals. My God, in terms of talent, fuck me, they're absolute ballers, all of them, and they've all had arguably bigger moments in the Premier League, particularly with us growing up. But I just think,
mate, like, but okay, what I'm not,
also because he was around before.
But with what I don't get and what I actually don't care for or see any value in is the bullshit tradition that I'm watching football and I want to enjoy football. The beauty for me for football is that it doesn't matter where you're from, so you represent.
I appreciate that, but do you not fucking love the Mason Mount? All of our what's the
Mason
point?
Mount's from Portsmouth.
No. But what's the point of all of our young kids that have come through our academy? It doesn't. I'm not talking about I'm talking about Newcastle and Alan Shearer being a Geordie because it's a one city club. But where Mason Mount being from Portsmouth, it doesn't really matter. They've come through our academy, and are we not absolutely fucking thrilled with that? Like.
100%, but just because Mason Mount is from our academy, and say Phil Foden moves to, in a hypothetical world, Phil Foden moves to like Liverpool and wins bare trophies, I'm going to discredit, or the fact that Raheem Sterling wins bare trophies.
No, not at all.
Over like,
I'm literally just talking about as the Hall of Fame as a cultural artifact that we're creating for the Premier League. I'd just like Alan Shearer to be the first person to go. It's not that fucking deep.
Yeah, no, it's not. The criteria is so like, it's open. It's so open, and like. I suppose
that's the way I see it, and also I completely appreciate the way you see it in terms of we're talking about impact. Like, did Thierry Henry, man? Like, did he make you feel more things than Alan Shearer made you feel? Of course, it's Thierry Henry. And I get why you should think he goes in first, but just from my perspective.
Well, to put a pin in this, guys. To put a pin in this.
This was a good one. This was actually a good one.
Craig is feeling.
Yeah, no. I am feeling it.
Can I assume that we've definitely got Alan Shearer in there because we both want Alan Shearer in there, and we all want Thierry Henry in there.
I'd say Shearer is maybe not second.
And I would argue that Quake's argument is probably more compelling. So in that case, I'll concede.
No, I don't want
guys.
I don't want your bullshit.
Let's consider this. All right. Okay. Yeah, so Thierry Henry. Who's saying I for Thierry Henry?
I.
Yeah, I for me. So it's 3 ayes. So Thierry Henry's definitely
Tyler.
Yeah, our producer having an awful time.
Alan Shearer.
Aye.
Ooh. Alan Shearer's in. Majority.
Yeah, fair enough.
There we go. So the first two, in our opinion, for the Premier League Hall of Fame is Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. Quaker, where can they find us?
Thierry and Alan Shearer. So you can find us on We Talk Football Podcast on Instagram. It's WTF Podcast 90 on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube at We Talk Football Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We are growing steadily, and also make sure you like this video as well. We're on TikTok. I've kind of alluded to what we're doing on TikTok too many times, but yeah, make sure you follow us on that, and we'll be back with more videos real soon.
Cheers. God, you two went off.
Yeah, man, I thought it was good.